up here, the final round. Both players here are undefeated and will be playing to be the first winner of the Union Arena Cross Alpha Series. And they'll be the first player to be put on that leaderboard and see who takes this season. So, we have our Bleach player on the left, it appears, and then Red Ashford on the right, it appears. Seeing Green Ashford's gonna be, or Green Bleach is gonna be very interesting to see what they added, maybe some sites or some events. Definitely gonna be really interesting what they are adding to this list. Alright, so then we have playing the call-in with our red player, and then we're gonna pass it over. And looks like our green player is gonna be playing our Toshiro 1-drop. And she's still a newer player, so she's still maybe learning some of this, or double checking and just making sure that everything's correct. Alright, and then playing another point for our Kenpachi's assistant. I forget her name, but she restands a Kenpachi. So she's just building up our energy line, and then looks like our red player is going to be moving up a call-in, playing Arthur in the back, and playing a CC to draw and discard, just to get some nice filtering and getting our energy up. Alright, discarding another CC. Okay, got lots of zeros, so we're going to be attacking the call-in. Going to be taking the top damage, and then going to be taking a Shinji. And Shinji has an active trigger, I believe, so it's not going to be doing anything at the moment. Alright, going to be passing over. Alright, looks like she's looking at the Shinji, maybe thinking about playing that as some energy. Alright, gonna be playing our Shinji in the front. And then playing another energy in the back line. Alright, and he's gonna be passing there, so he's gonna have some defense up for that call-in. Interesting to see if they're going to try and push up their zeros. Looks like they are going to be pushing up both of them. So it looks like they got plenty of zeros, especially considering they did discard that CC. So just setting up the energy line and making sure they can put enough pressure in the early game to not have to worry about some Toshiros. Or maybe if this green player is playing some bombs. It's something to consider. So definitely want to push in as quick as they can. And looks like they were debating the front line or the back line. I'm gonna assume that maybe they don't have another energy, so if it gets hit by a special or something, they won't have enough energy to play. Gonna be taking 1 life, gonna be hitting a Toshiro color trigger. So she could play her 2 or less, but looks like she doesn't have one at the moment. And then attacking with a CC. Gonna be hitting the double energy, no trigger, and gonna be passing it over. So we have our green player on 4 life, and then gonna be passing over. Okay, draws a Toshiro. The green player is definitely gonna have to set up some 4K bodies, ideally, to start defending against these attacks. Our red player does not have a Nunnally, which would make things a lot more difficult. Alright, looks like our green player is playing a Toshiro in the front line. Me tapping the energy for it, of course. And then our green player has 1 more point. Debating if they want to play a Bankai. They got 2 Bankais. Debating if they want to play a Bankai. We playing the Bankai to restand. Get one extra AP. And then we have our green player to play. Oh, they have some specials in hand. Maybe they're debating if they want to play that special. Looks like our green player decided that they did not want to play the event, the Bankai to restand, as they don't want to appear to want to use our special right now to get rid of those little bodies. So they're just gonna be attacking it with the Shinji. And looks like our red player is considering taking it or just blocking. Looks like they're gonna be taking it. Color trigger, but looks like there's no 2500s at the moment, so they'll just be empty trigger at the moment, and they're gonna be passing. And unfortunately, our green player wasn't able to set up another high body. Even a 3K would have been alright, I believe. A 4K would have been ideal, just like even a Toshiro just raid, but as a vanilla would have been ideal. Unfortunately, going to be putting some extra pressure in here because it doesn't have a lot of defenses. And now they're setting up the Nanali. It's definitely going to be adding up and going to be making it a lot more difficult for next turn. And then it's going to be pushing up or playing up a call-in on the front line for some defense. Going to be able to block 2, and then the CC will get through and get a Shinji. And very unfortunate when you get that active trigger on the last attack. And then we'll be passing out after that, or passing it over after that. Draws a Shinji. This hand is not looking too good for this green player. The Shinji will at least be a 3K defense, but now that they have the Nanali, it's not going to be as vital. And they have the Millie in the back row and our Sayako, so they're going to be able to kind of push and pressure at this point to anything. Alright, looks like our green player is playing a Kampachi, so now we're able to... They got 6, so they're going to be able to pop one of our opponent's cards. Going to be popping the call-in, very nice. Going to be popping the biggest body. And then resting our energy. Alright, it will be playing rested, but they'll have that for the defense for next turn. And then going to be swinging for our with Shinji. And going to be taking the life. Hit a Suzaku, okay. One more. Gonna be hitting an Arthur. And then gonna be passing it over. Man, the fact that this green player unfortunately only has 3 bodies in the front line is gonna be unfortunately gonna be hindered. It looks like their green player just drew too many events and not enough battlers. Even if another 4K vanilla would be very nice here, unfortunately. And our red player drops another Nanali. And the special. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like they got a very good setup here, and it's going to be very difficult to try and push it next turn because the Nanalis are just going to be reoccurring pressure. Alright, he's going to be swinging with the call-in 3K impact, so they're going to have to take this. They're going to be taking the 1 damage and hitting an active trigger, it looks like. Yes, we'll be getting an active trigger and then boosting the Shinji. Perfect. They're going to be swinging CC. Going to be blocking one of them. Blocking out Arthur, most likely. And then the Sayako will get through for that last attack. And it is a special, which is very nice. They're probably going to be blocking the... Yep, going to definitely be popping the Sayako. And then they're going to be passing it over. So unfortunately, our green player only has 1 life here, and it's gonna be, unless they're playing some big bombs in this list, like a 8-drop Suzaku Lancelot, something with 5K, or dropping a Lancelot raid 6-drop right now. There's almost no way our green player will be able to defend from that last impact, so they may have to hope they just have a final and be able to block out everything else. Alright, we have our green player is going to be popping one of our opponent's cards. That's a good start. Alright, going to be popping the call-in 2K. And they do have another one, so it seems like they may be playing that. Alright, going to be playing another special. Going to be getting rid of the Arthur. Oh, man, our green player just very unfortunately only has... the 1 battle and 2 Bankais. The Bankais haven't been doing too much, unfortunately. Maybe using the extra draw would have been beneficial. Alright, and they're gonna be attacking and then blocking with a CC that was boosted from the active. Moving up both Millie and Suzaku. Gonna be playing our Zenitsu to try and look for Suzaku, and looks like he found two. We'll definitely be taking one of those. This is a very unfortunate situation for the Green Bleach player, as they're gonna need to hit some finals, multiple finals. It looks like. And then Suzaku. All right, getting some impacts on the board right now. All right, gonna be hitting with our melee 3K impact first, and since all the battlers are below 3,000, it seems like they're gonna have to take it, and we're gonna have to hope for some finals. Unfortunately, is not a final, so our red Ashford deck